All right, we are live with another week of talking about whatever the fuck we want because no one's really listening anyways. But here we are, Soto. We do this for
Mm-hmm.
the fun of it. We got
Or we, yeah,
yeah,
oh, we do.
we got a
And of
few things to
course,
talk about this week, and the major one is obviously wrestling and Money in the Bank. That's kind of the main course, but there's some things that happened this week that I kind of definitely want to discuss. So before we get to Money in the Bank, want to bring up a few things. And first of
sure.
all, before any things we start, I gotta ask you. I probably made fun of you one time before, but we
Yeah.
couldn't we did not record our 200 movie challenge on Thursday because you were in a 5K. Congrats, by the way.
My God.
Which now brings
Thank
me
you.
to my
Yeah.
second question: what's the fun of a 5K? And I get it, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna put you on the spot, because I know how much you work for these. So how was it? How is it doing the 5Ks, or at least go back to when you did your first 5K? The accomplishment there. Talk to a little about it.
Oh my God. I remember, so I didn't start really running until I was in my late 30s, which, wow, I would kill to be in my late 30s now.
Same.
Um, but because I'm like, when I was in my late 30s, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old. But no, when you get in your mid 40s, you're like, no, this is old. Especially, when I can throw my back out just cleaning the cat's litter box, which I really love. Especially, being able to just not, because like when I have like sciatica, which is like the most old man thing I could possibly say right now. And if I don't do things a certain way, or if I do something a certain way, I actually will just end up having like a pinched nerve kind of back pain for like 4 days. And then I can't do anything. I've got to do all sorts of weird like stretches now and shit like that in my life. Like they're like mandatory for me to do that stuff. So anyway, so back in my late 30s, I started kind of seeing these signs around where I live, where it was like a turkey trot, right? It's a Thanksgiving 5K that we have locally here, and I was like, wow, I wonder what it would like be like to run one of those things. Like get up early on Thanksgiving and in the cold, usually November around here, and just get my butt out there and start running. So um, my first 5K, I trained, I did couch to 5K, and I did this whole program where it was like kind of a lot of run walking and everything. And then I did my first 5K a few years back, and it was not pretty. It here over in Andover. Um, the second mile is pretty much like a straight incline. And halfway through that incline in my first 5K, my legs just gave out from under me because I had never run. I had run for 20 minutes straight, but I'd never run for more than that. Not since I was in high school. So, but I found the experience to be incredibly rewarding because I made a promise to myself and then I followed through on the promise, and they gave me a free pie at the end of the 5K.
Ooh.
Uh, Market Basket table talk pies. Instead of like the mini ones, it was like a full size one. So I was able to cross the finish line with my fat ass, and they gave me a pie for my reward. And then I went to Thanksgiving, feeling like I already accomplished something for the day, like I burned 600 calories and everything. So and then I did it for multiple times afterwards, much to my wife's dismay, because not regular people don't like waking up early on Thanksgiving just to watch somebody run a 5K. Like it's just not appealing if you're not doing it. So I just always have liked it. And, opportunity came. My company does a lot of charity stuff. And, one of my employees was like, hey, like, let's do this 5K together because I've never done one. And so it was for a good cause. It was for the American Heart Association. And, raised a little bit of money for it. And we did it. It was a nice random afternoon in Boston. The only issue was that it was 90 freaking degrees when we did it.
Oh.
But it was a great view. Like, you're running down this thing, and we were right in the seaport in Boston. And I remember on the second mile, just turning around and you can kind of see the sun setting right in the Boston skyline. And I was right by the water, right by where Logan Airport is, and see the planes taking off. So it was like super cool views, a great place to run, and yeah, I didn't really start training for this one until like 16 days out, and about 2 weeks ago, I tried to do my first run, and it was like, it was hard for me to get over a mile, but I just kept going out there every day. and running in pain and everything. And I've even like I need a new pair of running shoes because I just busted a hole in this one I have right now. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It's for a good cause, and you know, like any good 5K, I think the best part about running, 3, 5, 6 miles is that there's a beer waiting for you at the finish line. And my bib came with a beer ticket, so you were able to cash in a beer after you finish, like for free. So that was really cool. Um, Nothing tastes better than a cold ass beer, man, after you've been running in the hot sun or working in the hot sun. So yeah, so I was happy to get through it. Um, I'm taking like I've been resting the last couple of days because yesterday I think it was Friday. My body was absolutely killing me. And I just thankfully I had like a half day at work, so I left a little bit early. And then today I'm kind of taking it easy too. Although I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be some drinking that's gonna be happening soon because I had not had a drink in like 10 days before I did the 5K. Um, and then so after the 5K was my first drink, and then yesterday I didn't have a drink, and then tonight obviously we got wrestling, so I
You
think
got
I
the
might have a
important stuff
beer.
in.
But thanks. Yeah, no, it won't be my last 5K I run. Um, as I get through this weekend, if it ever stops raining here in New England, I'm going to go out again and attempt to prepare for an unknown 5K, just to get myself in ready shape. Especially with the weather being nice. It's just nice to run 3 to 5 miles here and there, and definitely when you're in your 40s, dude, you have a job that you are active in, but I have an office job, so I have to actively engage in activities so that I don't turn into a fat skeleton, which is very easy to happen if I don't eat right. Because I think you probably agree. Like, it's not like my mindset's really changed with how I eat from like my teens to my mid 20s, but my body certainly has. So I have to be mindful of being like, I can't just eat like how I used to, or I can't just drink like how I used to. I've got to like have it be targeted. So, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, I'm happy to be indoors, and I'm happy to not be running and gonna watch other people do athletic shit.
Yeah, no, well, there was a time, I think it was like 2011, I think, when I was living on my own. And
Wow.
I think I would go to the gym, and I had no
Mhm.
social life, probably outside of whenever me and you might have drank, but, I wasn't dating or anything at that time. But I went to the gym every
Yeah.
day, and I think I ran 3.5, 4 miles a day. Like, I know you made the
Yeah.
joke because you've seen
Wow.
the picture, like you thought I wasn't eating, like, because I
I
did.
remember it.
I would just go hardcore, like, as you know, from the treadmill. Like, it started off at 4, and I would end up at 7. I would just go hardcore for like a
Yeah.
half an hour, just. Psh. And I thought
Oof,
about when I
that'll do
honestly
it.
thought about it at one time, like, I wonder if I can do a marathon or a half a marathon. And then, life caught up with me. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, we'll see. I might have to do a fight. Right now, with me being sick, I don't want to think about any of that shit right in this moment. I mean, I can't even drink at the moment. But yeah, so I was like, I should, because I've been trying to go to the gym, even though the last couple of weeks have just been hellish, but still, I like you. You know what? The accomplishment, I get it. But yeah, I had a
Well,
lot
I
of
tell
phys-
people all the time, just walk. That's my only
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Even walking is, no, you know.
something is something. Doesn't matter for how long you do it or how
Mhm.
far you do it. So, but Soto accomplished another 5K. I do remember the first time you told me, and I remember it was Thanksgiving because I'm just like, dude, this is food day. Why are you doing a 5K? And I joke, why are you doing a 5K? Like, this is the day of food. That's what I love. I don't care about anything else. I'm like, I'm eating. I'm gonna give me my turkey leg, give me my stuffing, give me
Yeah.
my green bean casserole, and I don't give fuck else about anything else. That's what I'm
I
American,
do it
man.
now. Like I stopped doing it, and it's great because work in retail. Like the fuck did Thanksgiving mean to me, right? I was usually working the day before, and especially it being Green Wednesday. It was like a busy ass thing, so I was like, fuck it. But now that I have a little bit more of a work life balance, I'm like, yeah, no, I could just wake up. I could just sleep in on Thanksgiving and then wake up and eat food and watch the Lions and their shit. Um, so I have no problem doing it now. It's just that I was at a point in my life, midlife crisis, like I guess, right?
Yeah, we've all gone
And
there.
I think that they said, yeah, it's like I think that there's a bunch of midlife crisis things that you can do. And one of the thing that I learned in my midlife crisis, which was right around when COVID was big too. Um, I just was like, I'm gonna try running. I'd always run when I was younger, um, and but not really endurance, but really more like kind of sprinting and stuff like that. I always liked track and field. I was always like cross country and shit like that. But then I got older and I started drinking fucking beer and smoking the devil's lettuce and all that other shit. And that stuff does not make you hard. So I just decided to try to do it. So it won't be the last time I try, but the first time I needed to know that I could train for something physically and then do it. But my journey with my exercise is definitely not over yet. So I'm going to continue fighting and so there's no other way these pizzas are gonna fall off by themselves. You know what I mean? Like these pizzas have to be earned now with like running. So
You gotta, yes, definitely. And it's funny you said that, because, you know, I coach flag football on Sundays and this and that, 9 and 10 year olds. And this league in Hollis, it's a bunch of age groups. Well, Brian sent me something and he's like, dude, they're doing a 35 plus league in the summertime. And I'm like, oh. And I thought, I'm like, all right, first of all, I just don't know what my work schedule is going to be like. And I said, because he even asked, he's like, would you want to do this? And I said, it depends what my work schedule. Well, no, because I know I can get back into work shape, football shape, I should say, a little bit. And I think it would be fun because it's just for like 6 weeks. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know if I commit yet. Well, it's not as bad as you think. Plus, you get out there.
Well, I mean, what happens if you tear your fucking ACL? Then you can't fucking work.
I mean, what if I tear my ACL just on the treadmill?
True, but it's like Jason Tatum, popped his Achilles doing what he naturally does, and at our age, it's like it's like,
well, the league is
like
just 35. It's all a bunch of old folks, so it's. I don't know. We talked about it because then I laughed. I'm like, man, if we can get the other two guys who we won, like when we won the championship back in like '04, I was like, that'd just be hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, no, he did ask us because I think it would motivate him to kind of get back into the that kind of shape a little bit. And I said, if I could, I don't know what my work life's going to be then. I've been lucky to have these Sundays off recently, so that can change, but. We'll see. But it's funny because I'm going to segue from something you said earlier. You talked about the Lions and you talked about football. And, last year we did a lot of fantasy football and stuff like that. Talked about every game through a whole fucking season. Still can't believe we did it. But they showed off. I know we talked about this a little bit. The new Madden cover. Saquon Barkley is on there. Now, do you believe in the Madden curse, Soto? My question is, if you have the first pick in the fantasy draft, your fantasy draft, are you taking Saquon Barkley now? Now that he's on this cover, first of all, he deserves it. He does deserve it.
He does deserve it, but running backs, and before we get into this whole thing, man, like these running backs, they go down, man. Like they get injured and then they're done. And then their handcuffs come in and do stuff. I'm hesitant towards it, dude. I picked freaking Christian McCaffrey. You did too.
And he was on the Madden cover last year. 4 games. That's what he played. 4 games.
Yeah, no, dude. I think I'm gonna skip Saquon. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but my football intuition is tingling. And I don't, man, because when you pick a number 1 pick and they fucking don't play, you're fucking scrambling all fucking year. I wish I could trade down. I wish I could trade my number 1 pick. If it was me, I'd be like, all right, who wants my number 1 pick, and then pick up picks along the way. I'd rather do that than fucking pick Saquon Barkley. And nothing against Saquon. I think Saquon's good. I think that. It's going to be his second year in that system, and he just played longer than other running backs too. He had extra carries because he played throughout the playoffs. So no, I'm hoping that I get pick number 8 or 9 or something like that. Something that's just going to be low key. I don't want the pressure of being in the top picks. I think I've been in the top 2 picks for the last 2 years back to back. And I don't want I don't want anything to do with it. My boy Jason Tatum was just on the cover of NBA 2K whatever, and he just blew out his Achilles. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna stay away from Saquon. I'm gonna have to say a no on that one. What would you do?
I don't know. That first pick is so fucking hard because, like you said, you could just ruin everything. I think last year I had pick 3, and Christian McCaffrey fell to me because I'm just like, oh, so it was just like I think I panicked and didn't really think things through. I'm like, I knew he was somewhat injured, but I figured he was going to come back. I did not think the injury was going to be what it ended up being. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like I hate the first pick. I do. I'm with you. I'd rather have the middle of the row or even the end. Like if you get the end of the first round and you have that easy snake result, close to back. I kind of like that. You can kind of let the
Oh, I
beginning
like that too.
weed out and then be like, okay. Like you said, running backs are hard to come by, and that's the thing because you need at least one running back. So I don't know. Like if I had the first pick, I mean, I still don't think I can do Jamar Chase. I know people have been talking about him. I don't think I can do Justin Jefferson. I feel like, people are talking about Bijan Robinson. I don't know. I think we'll see in the moment if I get pick 1, because then I'm going to panic. Like you, I should just be in a legacy league where you can trade your picks and trade everything else, because you keep,
Yeah,
keep it.
seriously.
But we shall see. We shall see. Depends how things go. I don't even know if I'm going to have a work. I didn't even told you. I don't know if I'm going to have a work fantasy league this year. The guy that runs it just became postmaster. He's going out to Rochester, so we don't think he's going to run it. And like some joke told me I should run. I'm like, I don't want to be in charge of you people. Half jokingly because I'm
No.
like I hate the collecting. So I don't know. It
Um,
might I like work fantasy football leagues because you can talk shit. But at the same time,
mhm.
like I said, if I miss it, I miss it. So we shall see. I thought I was going to do 2 this year, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I get the first pick, I still might go Saquon because the upside, if he does even what he did last year, you're pretty much set at running back the whole season. Yes, any injury can derail your whole friggin'
I
team.
know.
It
It's
can,
it's
but
football
that
too.
could that could be with anyone. You could be at the 7th or 8th pick, and just like, oh shit. Like, what if McCaffrey fell to you in the 4th round? Are would you start thinking about taking him there? Like, what
Yeah.
round would you
Oh,
be
yeah.
willing to take McCaffrey? Because I'm assuming now he's
Yeah.
more healthy
Like
than last year.
probably like I'd probably consider taking him in the third round. As high as the third round.
Because
I'd take a flyer on him in the third round.
I hear a lot. It's like late first, early second. I'm like, God, I don't know if I would do that. I don't
No,
know.
I wouldn't pick him that high just because I don't believe in him. But if he fell to me, I'd take a flyer on him. I just wouldn't want him in a critical position. You know what I mean? I'd like to kind of get my running back, my wide receiver all set first, and then build my wide receiver core. Find some handcuffs here and there for running back. Fill out my bench with running backs and wide receivers as many as I could. And then I would switch to taking a look at a quarterback. Um, and then I would do tight end, kicking, and defense
Right.
last.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just pick up running backs and wide receivers. You need them. You need an army of them to get through a season. So I'm gonna take chances on my bench. I'm gonna reach for some stuff, but I know what I want to do now. It's like I want to build a team that like can withstand the bullshit that happens in the season, but also just kind of make points. I think that when I picked up Laporta last year, way too high. I mean, he was fine for where I drafted him, but Laporta just didn't do it for me. So maybe I'll pick up one of the Bears tight ends.
We'll see because they got 2 now. It depends. It's I don't know. That could be a nifty one, but it's possible. Because if one goes down, the other one. Because especially now you got Ben Johnson, so who knows?
They have a
Just
competent offense now. They do. They have a competent
well,
offense. They didn't have it.
they technically had a competent offense. They just didn't have a coach. I think that was kind of the problem. I mean, they still had DJ
Well,
Moore.
yeah,
They just
you
did not.
need
Well,
the
the main
coach.
thing is they did not have an offensive line. And that was the
Ah,
first thing they did in free agency, even before anything else, before the draft. They picked up. I mean, as a Pats fan, because you
yeah.
guys didn't really have an offensive line either. Sadly, ours was
Never.
worse. Um,
Hmm.
but I think that was the problem. Like Caleb Williams got sacked like 70 freaking times. So yeah, I mean, his numbers were okay. I'm not saying they were great. I'm not saying they're bad, but we'll see. But yes, now with Ben Johnson, now with a little bit more, tight ends and offensive line, this we'll see what happens. So as usual, I'm excited for the football season. I'm ready. It's going to be here soon. So, but
Only a couple more months, like what, August, right? Is preseason?
yeah, and then
June, July, that's it. We're in football season already. Like we're football, like draft talk and all that stuff. So it's right around the corner. But that Madden curse is a real thing. It's a
yeah.
real thing. It does happen.
Do you know who I wish was on the Madden cover though? And he did. I wish Aaron Rodgers was on it. Just end this man's career. I know he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm like, why is he still playing? Why is someone taking a chance? And I laughed.
Wish Pat Mahomes was on there.
I think week 1 or 2 he's facing the Jets, who now
Oh,
has
nice.
Justin Fields. So it's like they traded quarterbacks. So no, I would love Aaron Rodgers just to try it out and tear his Achilles again or just whatever. And I don't know. That man just needs to go away.
Yeah, he sucks. And Pat McAfee. They need to go away from my
Well,
life.
yes, that in wrestling, McAfee needs to go away. Unfortunately, he
Oh,
won't be
so
commentating college
annoying.
and shit like that. So,
Sure. Yeah. Well, I don't give a fuck about that, but I don't need him on WWE. He's the worst part about it. He just doesn't know how to commentate. So, not even a word. Probably not.
no, but I know what you meant. Um,
Yeah, he sucks.
so, another thing that happened this week, one more kind of thing I want to clean up or talk about is we had a couple big video game events that we watched. I didn't watch, I watched the State of
Surprise.
Play, and
Hmm.
I didn't realize the summer, I think I was a little sick yesterday, the Summer Game Fest, but they had some very interesting
Yeah.
games announced.
That one caught me by surprise. I just saw it on YouTube and I was like, wait a second, Chad didn't tell me about this. I was
Which
like, is
one?
this a real thing? The one Summer Game Fest yesterday. And I was like, oh damn. I was like, I gotta watch this. So I started watching it from the very beginning. And I was like, oh shit, they're gonna announce some games on here.
Yeah, as far we'll do hold on. So I did not see the Summer Game Fest. I actually forgot about it. I did hear about it, but just like I said, I was sick and I did not set my alarm and I forgot. I got the update that there is a Resident Evil trailer. Like now it's official that Resident Evil 9's coming out.
Yes.
And then
It
I'm
was
like,
at
oh,
the end too.
say what?
It was at the end of the show
Oh
because
yeah.
I was watching it. It was 2 hours long, and I'm
Holy
not gonna lie, I
shit.
fell asleep in the middle of it. I fell asleep in the middle because I was on the couch and I was just like, like there wasn't anything going on, and I was just kind of watching, and I was like, I just dozed off, and then I woke up and I was like, wow, I don't think they're gonna announce anything that's gonna be huge. And I think I shut it off like with 30 minutes to go, and I'm like, what else could they possibly announce? And then you texted me right after, like Resident Evil 9. I'm like, oh fuck. Of
Yeah,
course, I turned it off before they announced it.
and I had to look into it a little bit because obviously the rumors were always Leon and Jill, and they brought out a brand new character who has ties to the
Yeah.
Resident Evil Outbreak game. Out of all
Yes,
the
correct.
games, the daughter. So I don't know. I'm always excited. I like new directions. I don't always want the same characters. I don't mind like Chris Redfield popped up in 7 and 8. Kind of more of a side
Yeah.
character. So yeah, they got to move forward. But yeah, I kind of looked at some of the other games. I won't go through them all, but it looked like there was a new Dying Light game. I know we're still trying to get through two,
Yeah.
but
The
there's a.
DL, it looks like the DL, is that DLC
Oh, I did.
or
I don't know
it's
for
called
sure.
like
I
the
kind of was
Beast
just
or
kind of like
something like
quickly
that?
looking through. Maybe it isn't
Yeah.
DLC. Maybe you're right.
I don't know.
I heard Death Stranding 2 they showed.
Yeah, that shit's gonna be insane. I mean, Hideo Kojima, like nobody is telling him no anymore when he just makes video games. So Death Stranding 2 looks just like they're like, oh, okay, cool. Death Stranding was a success. You can really do whatever you want, and it certainly looks like he's doing whatever he wants in this one. I don't even know where to start with that one. Like from what I've seen in the trailers.
I don't know. The first one was so fucking crazy. I can't imagine what the second one would be like. Uh,
I know.
and then a couple smaller games kind of caught my eye that there's a new Scott Pilgrim game, and then a game called
Yeah,
Killer
saw that.
In. Yeah, so I have a feeling we're going to be playing some Scott Pilgrim soon, or whenever that's coming out. Was it?
Yeah.
Is it called EX or just X? I actually don't know. What are the kids calling this? Because I know it's at EX,
I
but
don't know.
is it Scott Pilgrim
I saw
X?
it at DX. No idea. Like it looked like it was just Ramona and Scott. I didn't see any other playable characters. Um, but it's by the same crew that did the first one, which we liked a lot. So I'm sure it should be good. It's got the same guy who did the soundtrack too. So I'm just happy that there's more Scott Pilgrim stuff. Scott Pilgrim is kind of a cult sort of a thing. and I'm glad that it's like still kicking around. So I even liked there was like a sequel cartoon series that came out on Netflix not recently, but last year that I watched that I thought was pretty good. It was actually felt like a sequel to the Scott Pilgrim movie. Well, I know obviously it was a comic first, but it felt like a sequel. And I think they brought all the voice actors in the cartoon were the actors from the movie too. So I thought it was kind of cool.
But then, yeah, earlier in the week was the state of play because that's what I'm like. I kept hearing rumors they're going to announce Resident Evil 9. Just turned out the wrong event. And
Hmm.
there's a few things that, I kind of was like, all right, I'm kind of interested in. They have the Mortal Kombat collection, which, depending on the price, I might have to check out. They had a couple others, co-op things like Firebreak and First Light, which we might have to talk about. Or, I don't know, Silent Hill, I've never been into it. But there's one
Yeah.
that obviously I texted you right away. And Final Fantasy
Hmm.
Tactics. Um,
Yeah.
this
So
This is a game that, out of all the Final Fantasy titles, has had my number. I think I've told this before. I could not get into this game. It was just too much for me at that time in my life because this game is very
yeah,
complicated. And I hear
it
it's
is
like,
very complicated.
and it gets easier. Like there's not a good learning curve. It's tough at first, but as you figure it out, the game, from my understanding, the game gets easier. Um,
100%. Yep.
so I was like,
100%.
I never could, and I think a couple times I tried it again. Again, when you're in college, you got to put some time in this game. But then I saw this, and I'm like, all right, maybe this is the time. I'm playing the second Lunar. I know I want to play the Suikoden remasters because I love those RPGs. So yeah, you beat Tactics, correct? Did you end up beating?
And I did in high school. Yep.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts
This is
about
when I
this?
was
Are
big
you
into Final
excited
Fantasy
about
7.
the remaster, or could you care less? Or
I have no interest in playing Final Fantasy Tactics again because it was so hard. And I did beat it. The story is pretty good too. Like it's got a lot of political intrigue. I think this takes place in the same world as 14 or 13, not 13, but didn't you play the one that not people were very big on?
12.
That
I
Final
think
Fantasy it
this
was
is in the same
12.
world
Thank
as
you. Thank
12.
you.
Yeah, I was not a fan of 12. I love the Gambit system, which I know some people weren't a fan of. To me, I wasn't a fan of 12 because I think the story, I don't know, there's a couple memorable characters, but it wasn't a memorable game. And I know some people love it. And I was
Yeah.
fine with the Gambit system, but I do want to retry it again. I know they had a reversion. But yeah, I think this is the
Like
same universe as 12.
Its tactics is just there's a job system that requires a little bit of know-how to it. Because you can have your characters be in a job skill, learn specific things you want them to learn in that job skill, and then you've got to switch over to another job. So there's a lot of management that goes on in tactics as well. Um, it was very hard for me. I mean, I was only in high school, so the only thing I had played before, because obviously we talked about Final Fantasy VII a lot. Final Fantasy VII is really my gateway into like turn-based RPGs, and so I thought Tactics would be that way. But Tactics is more of a like a strategy RPG, where it's like your characters have certain blocks they can move. Kind of like Valkyrie Chronicles, if you remember
Oh, I
Valkyrie
love that game.
Chronicles.
Yeah, and I even played Valkyrie Chronicles 4, which is the only true sequel, because I know there's 2 and 3, which are not like it, but 4 was just as good as the
Like
first one.
so, like Valkyrie Chronicles has that same kind of vibe. It's like you can only move certain places and then using the environment to your advantage. Like the only difference with tactics is like you don't go into a third person view, seeing your people. Like you kind
Correct.
of moving your pieces on the board. Some of them have long range attacks. Some have only close range. So you gotta have to kind of do that. And then some of the boss fights you're put with disadvantages and things like that. I mean, if it was free, I would entertain. I had nothing else going on. I definitely would play tactics. Um, but I think Cloud is also in this too, if I remember correctly. You can get Cloud in Final Fantasy Tactics.
Correct. I heard that
Uh,
as well.
yeah, that was a big thing back in the day. But yeah, I just when my mind thinks of tactics, it's immediately like, no thanks. That's way too much thinking for me to do, and there's no way I could possibly do this game. There's just no way. Could I though? I probably could. Um, it's just I don't know. I like easy things like RoboCop.
No, I definitely get it because yeah, back we talked about 7, and I played Resident Evil, excuse me, Final Fantasy 7, and then right
Mhm.
after that, because I kind of played that late in the cycle, Final Fantasy 8 was available, so I played that, And then I played Final Fantasy 9, which I beat. And then, yeah, Tactics came along, and I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I tried. Do not get me wrong. It's not like I gave up, but I think it was that job system and everything. And I think there's just one map
Yeah.
where I got my ass kicked countless. And it's not like you can
Yep.
really grind in this. This is not a great,
No.
it's not like, hey,
No.
I need a level up, then I'll come back. So yeah, I think I gave up. And then when the PlayStation 1 came out in the PS Store, actually, I think for the PS3 as well, or, they had the updates, but I bought it in the PlayStation Store. I'm like, I'll give this another shot because it was only like $8, $9, something like that. And I tried again. I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, I can't do this. I'm like, this is
Nope.
fucking insane. So yeah, I think because I know they you get both. Like you're gonna get the remastered, but you can also play the original with this version. So for those who want to be hardcore, and just go the old school way, you can. Or if you want a little bit of the update, you can choose. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's a day one for me like Lunar was. Just because Lunar had more you know what's the word, special feelings in my heart, nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
But
Way easier too.
it is so my I think because I couldn't remember why I loved it. I barely could remember the game. I remember little bits, but barely anything else. But I've said this, I'm like, I think Lunar is the perfect gateway RPG for people because it's not difficult. You do not have to go grinding, and you do have to go like searching. There's nothing. It's kind of linear. So you can kind of walk around to here and get a little bit stories, but it's not like there's secret boss battles. So I'm like, Lunar to me is the perfect gateway RPG game because it's only your 30, 40 hours, depending on how much long it takes you at best. And it's got a good story, both of them. I'm doing Eternal Blue right now, so and I do like it. And but yeah, Tactics. I'm looking at that, and I'm like, like you said, if it goes cheap enough, I think I'm going to try it. I'll have to see what the reviews are like and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have so much in my backlog, dude. I have
yes,
so
I
much in my
know. I still
backlog.
got
I
you
have
dying
almost
like two.
200. I have like 200 in my backlog, and so I bought Assassin's Creed, um, Shadows, and it's a fucking slog, dude. It's a fucking slog. Like it looks gorgeous. It's beautiful. The graphics are fucking great. Um, it just is so fucking like there like the way the design is for the quests. I don't mind open world. I've played plenty of open world games. I know you have too. You kind of just go from one marker to another, or how should I say, question mark to question mark, right? You got a
Yep.
whole map full of question marks, and you just kind of go into them until you discover everything, and that's got its own kind of boringness. But like in this one, with the way the quest design is, it's like you can go wherever you want. Some regions are capped based on your on levels. So if you're like level 29, obviously you're gonna have a tougher time in the level 45 area, right? So you kind of it keeps you from going and exploring there because you don't want to get your ass kicked if you go there. But like the way the quest design is just very not like you just kind of investigate here, investigate there. Oh wait, okay, your scouts used them all up investigating. You can't get them back until the end of the season because the season changes and everything resets. And I just don't find it very engaging. It was funny because the first 20 hours you play as one character, the female ninja type, and it felt great. I was like, okay, cool, this is awesome. I had a goal in mind, which was to unlock the male character's name is Yasuke. He's big samurai dude. Um, and I wanted to unlock him because I wanted to see what his gameplay style is. And his gameplay style is like just walk into a castle and just kill everybody on sight. He can take on 10 guys. He has no stealth. And I thought that I was really going to like that. And I was having a great time kicking everybody's ass, but then that got boring and repetitive. And so I was like, I just don't feel like putting up with this slog right now. Um, and then I downloaded Disco Elysium again, which I've already beaten that game 3 times. So I downloaded it again. and playing that one when I have free time. I think I also downloaded RoboCop because I just want to be able to walk into a room and kill like criminals and stuff with my gun and be a RoboCop. But I'm not like really catching on to anything. You know what I mean? Like nothing's really grabbing me. Where it's like, when you play a really good game and it's like all you can think about, even when you're doing like your real life stuff and you're out on the road and you're driving your car and you're like, man, I can't wait to go back and play that video game. I don't have anything like that right now. And I'm like one drunken night away, Chad, from just buying Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I'm fucking
Yeah.
one drunken night away from doing it because that game looks fucking fire and it's turn based and it looks gorgeous. And I love turn based RPGs. I just, people hate on turn based RPGs. Persona obviously was one of my favorite games of all time. I think turn based RPGs are awesome. And I'm one drunken night away from purchasing that on my credit card. I'm telling you right now. So, but then
Yeah, probably when
I
that
won't
goes on
spend money on.
sale, I might check that out as well. Right now, like I said, Eternal Blue. The next game, I feel like, depending on what comes out, is because it's free on PS Plus. I know you will never play this because you're such a Harry Potter fan, but I do want to check out Hogwarts Legacy. I've heard a lot of
Oh
good
yeah,
things
that is
about it.
available.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
I wouldn't mind doing that. Just being House Slytherin. That sounds kind of cool.
yeah, so I don't know much. I just heard it was good, and yeah, right now though I want to
Free.
finish Eternal Blue, and then kind of, you got to sit in between games. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to play? But that one's next on my list where I'm like, okay, I'm very interested in this. But you never know. Sometimes something pops up, and like you said, you want to spend a little money on. I need something to go on sale because, like I said, I do want to play the Suikoden games again. I love the first two from what I can remember. I would like to re-experience them. It's insane, over like 100 playable characters or some crazy shit like that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we don't have to play any fucking new games like for years, and that's why I keep trying to tell myself, yeah, I can definitely afford a game, right? And we talk about this. We've talked about this a gajillion times. I can definitely afford any game that I want, and I can pay for whatever fucking game that I want. But I also have 200 of them that I haven't played. So it feels kind of fucking wrong. Doesn't it?
It depends, if it's a game you really want to play. I don't know. Because, again, I'm going to joke. I know it's not until next year. The instant Resident Evil 9 is available. I'm day one purchasing it, and I'm playing that. I
Because
don't.
why not? Who fucking cares?
I'm
Who
an
fucking
adult.
cares?
I make money.
I'm an
Yes.
adult.
That's
I'm the parent now.
I'm a parent. I'm in charge of myself. My wife's in charge of me
I
too, but
am.
that's a different story. But and yours is of you.
I
But you know
am.
what I mean.
Well, that's why I bought. That's why I bought Assassin's Creed Shadows. Is because I was like, oh man, I really want to play that, but I gotta wait till it's on sale. And Sarah was like, why? I was like, because it makes. She's like, but you have the money. Like this would not even be a thing. And I'm like, I do. And she's like, do you want to play this? And I was like, yeah. She's like, so then stop being a bitch and just buy it. I'm like, okay. And I did. And and sometimes you make a mistake and sometimes you don't. I did the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. I bought that shit full price. Played it up until the third act and just dropped it. Not
Ooh.
for any reason that it was bad. It wasn't bad at all. And I intend to replay it again. But it got to the third act and all of a sudden the world opened up tremendously in the third act. And by what I mean by that is like all of a sudden the world like was just like, where do you want to start with a gajillion amount of side quests you could probably do right now. And that idea of having a gajillion side quests open, I just dropped it. I was like, I can't. This is too much.
Too much
There's too
pressure.
much to do. There's too much to do. It's like, oh, where do I even start? I could go to this here. I was like, no, this is too much. This is too much. And so I got overwhelmed by the amount of side quests that were in there. So sometimes I like it up a linear game where I don't have to make a lot of choices. Like people are like, oh, open world, oh, all these choices. I don't want to make choices, dude. I want to turn on a game. Yeah, like, do I want to make the choices of, whether I dodge something or like those things? You know what I mean? Like the attacks I use and all that stuff and on the sure. But I don't want to have to make all these fucking. Oh, you made the wrong choice, so it's gonna change. It's gonna change the story dramatically because you made the wrong choice. It's like, oh no, I don't know. I get decision fatigue.
Well, again, I don't know when it's coming out. I feel like next year, but maybe this should be a day one purchase for us. Was it Directive 8020? since we've been doing the Dark Pictures anthology, and that's the new one
Oh
that's in
yeah.
space.
Oh, we got to.
I mean, you talk about choices. That is just choices beyond choices, and we don't
That's
always.
fun because
I
that's
know
like it's like
that's just us
we
fucking
both
around.
make the choices. Right, exactly. It's like, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about it out loud. It almost sounds like I'm in a therapy session right now. I'm like, Chad, it's the choices that are It's like, well, that's life. You just make a choice and you just go with it. Like you should do the same thing with video games, right? We say all the time, just press play. We've been doing 200 movie challenge, and I just saw one this morning too. And it's like you just hit start, and just go.
Yep.
Make mistakes. Do your thing, die, fail, pick it back up, and do it again. Um, Maybe that's the mentality I'll take with these games. I'll just be like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna play this, and I'm just gonna pick it up, and I'm just gonna, if I make the wrong decision, whatever. But I'm just gonna beat a game. I think I just gotta beat a game, and then I'll feel like, okay, cool, I can move on from that game. Because we talked about it before. I hate the platinum shit. It makes me feel like if I beat a game, that I didn't really beat it because I didn't 100% it. That's a stupid idea,
Yeah. So let's put
and
it this
one
way.
that we never had when we were kids.
No, but let me explain something to you. I've talked about this many times. I do not go into a game looking for a platinum. I play it the way I want to, and then I kind of look. I'm like, is this doable? Is this going to waste my time? Can I easily do this? And then I'm like, fuck it, why not? And I say that because I beat the first Lunar because I still have the second one to go. The trophies are actually combined, one and two,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was kind of looking through the one. Because the hard part is you can't go back to places. That is the only downfall because it is very linear. And one of the trophies was just open every red treasure chest. And I'm like, oh, I guess I missed that. I'm like, I'm not fucking playing through this game to find the one or two
Oh,
treasure chests. I'm like, I'm fine with this. I enjoyed it. I love my story. I was happy. They added more to the end. They changed the end a little bit, which I was a little disappointed in, but I was okay. Like the story was there. It was complete to me. I had my experience, and now I moved on to the second. But yeah, I'm like, open every red treasure chest, which you need a lock for. I'm like, well, I must have missed it. I'm like, I ain't playing. It's not like I can easily go back. I would have to start the game over. I'm like, nope. I
yeah,
love you, Lunar.
no,
I'm not doing that. There is no need. I do not
nope,
platinum hunt. So trophy hunt.
nope. Nope, I'm done with that lifestyle. Like that's the worst. I think I'm gonna take the same approach I think we take with the movies and just be like, I'm just gonna press play and I'm just gonna play it till the end and then we'll go from there and stop trying to get all worried about shit. Just play what you like and just do it. I'd like to beat more games though. Um, I don't know. Maybe I just want to play more games. I don't know. This is like turning into video game
Oh no,
psychiatry.
we'll get the money back in a second because that's the
Yeah.
finale here of this thing. But no, it's funny because like every time I beat an RPG, I kind of like I
Hmm.
told you like I find that filler game. Rocket League is kind of my quick fix of a game. I can get in, play a couple matches, not care. Like they're quick and easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like okay, I
Hmm.
don't. And I've played so many games or started so many games that I've never finished. A because they're free. I did not pay for these. But you go through the PS Plus. I'm like, ooh, let me see this. I'm like, nope. And some of them
Yeah.
I played through maybe halfway at best. I don't know. Hell, there's a game I played where I was a mailman. I think I sent you the photo because it takes place in the 80s or 90s, and
Oh
they had like the
yeah.
videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm kind of intrigued, but not that intrigued. So I was okay with just leaving it. But yeah, so to one day when you don't have a game, like not a major game, like an Assassin's Creed or whatnot, just and you're looking, just go through your PS Plus catalog, just kind of just look
I
through it, and
know.
it's so fucking insane because there's so many titles you're like, oh, that might not be too bad. Let me check. And I've tried so many games and it just doesn't, if it doesn't grab me in the first 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. Like I want, like I kind of like you with RoboCop was me with Doom. I played the first Doom because all I wanted to do is shoot some aliens, blow them up with the bazookas, and move on. I didn't even know what the story was. I just was blowing shit up. I'm like, I might have to play Doom Eternal now, just because I want to blow shit up. So, but yeah,
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said to that. Like when we watch movies where it doesn't ask a lot of you. It just has a beginning, middle, the end, and easy to digest, I guess. I mean, that's really good. Not every game has to be like when I think about tactics to go back to it, it's just like already I'm tired. Like already my brain hurts and already I'm tired. But I do feel like if I got into it, I got into the systems again, like once I'm into it, then I'd be fine. It's like when I go running, like the first like beginning part, I'm just like I hate myself. This sucks. Once I get into it, like mile 1, mile 2, then I'm like into a groove, and then I'm in it. Then I'm engaged. But that resistance at the very beginning is like the only hump to get over. Being like, oh, do I really want to start this? Is like, just shut up, just do it, enjoy, and then we'll go from there. I mean, after we're done here, I might just turn on RoboCop and just start dealing out justice just because I want to.
Justice.
Get myself ready. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get you back in time because 7 o'clock tonight, Money in the Bank. And I say that because this is your first, because you've been on this wrestling kick, which has brought me back into watch some old school and some of the major events. But you've never watched a Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Oh,
and I think
nope.
I told you, I'm like, outside of the Royal Rumble, this is one of my favorite gimmick matches. Now, it's not necessarily the match itself, because I'm sure you will remember some ladder matches, from back in the day. They've done many single matches, so there's nothing new. You climb the ladder, in this case, get the briefcase, and you win. It's what comes after, because it almost sets up the story possible next year, because there's always that tease, because it's a guaranteed championship opportunity. So yeah, there's only 4 matches tonight, which is insane that it's that little, which makes me think there's going to be some shenanigans, a lot of fucking shenanigans somewhere. But you're looking at the card, Soto. I mean, obviously our starting soon was Rhea Ripley carrying you. I mean,
yes.
This I think is going to be your first women's ladders match that you've ever watched, because I don't recall any old ones that they've done. I could be wrong.
And I'll tell you, with my kind of just getting back into wrestling and shit, like the women's part of WWE has been the most interesting to me. Yes, of course, visually aside. But it's been like the women wrestlers are fucking phenomenal, in my opinion, in WWE, and watching old school stuff. Definitely wasn't the case, but I look forward to the women's matches sometimes more than I do with the men's ones, to be quite honest, at least in my recent, kind of reawakening on wrestling. So I'm very excited.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I think, I'd have to check, the next premium live event after this is what they call Revolution. They've only held it once, and this is when Ronda Rousey was part of it. It's all women's pay-per-view, or an all women's premium live event. No men.
Wow.
I mean, obviously they had male, the same commentators, but all women matches. So I think, because they did it once in, I want to say 2018, 2019. Ronda Rousey joined for a year. She fucking was amazing that first year. Like she kind of, I know you hate Logan Paul, but she put in the work, and plus there's, she's real life, she real life could do this. And, it was amazing. Like, it was the first time they've done an all women's show. So I think a lot of fans have been clamoring for it. So yes, FYI, you might be first in your watching your all women's pay-per-view, or excuse me, premium live event soon. But going back, I love this ladder matches, but it just shows you how much, women's wrestling has changed in just the last 10 years. I think that's when the majority, especially when Triple H had NXT and he was building. Because if you look, I mean, yes, there's 4 matches, but half of it is women's matches. The only title match is a women's Intercontinental Championship match. So, I mean, they're good. It's not just, stupid spots or bra and panty matches, which, obviously Attitude Era, that's what they were known for.
I know.
These guys do the work. They do the moves, and sometimes they perform better than the men. So, I mean, but all right. So going back outside of watching a women's ladder match, kind of looking at the card, what are you excited for? What are your expectations of watching your first Money in the Bank premium live event?
I never thought I'd see Stephanie Vacker and Rhea Ripley going at it. So that's really what I'm excited for the most.
I think a lot of guys are excited for that one.
Well, because she's been with NXT for this whole time, and so I've always wondered like what that would look like, and so I'm excited for that. I don't know, the men's Money in the Bank. It's just Seth Rollins and LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americana, which is that Chad Gable dude.
Yep.
Surprise! I'm sure there's gonna be shenanigans there with CM Punk.
Well, that's
things like that.
There's going to be a lot of shenanigans in that match. This is weird that CM Punk is not in a match, because this is the event that he got famous for, beating John Cena in the main event. Storyline reasons, he took the championship away from the WWE. He wasn't, so he's almost synonymous with this event. So the fact that he's not in it, yeah. And then Solo Sikoa with Jacob Fatu have been butting heads. So yeah, I think the men's match, a lot of shenanigans, which means someone that you don't expect to win, it's going to win it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I hear the comical, that El Grande Americano winning, because if he's Chad Gable, he can't cash it in, because he would, if he had the opportunity, he would have to go change. So I feel for a comical standpoint,
That's
I think
great.
that'd be hilarious. Seth Rollins, he's gonna win it. He doesn't need this. I know he's kind of the favorite, but I don't know. I just want to
The big
see.
heel. Yeah.
He is just obviously what he's building. So it's a quick way to the title, but we shall see. I know, but to me the weird one is this tag match too. Like this just seems thrown together, which again makes me
Yeah.
believe there's fucking shenanigans. So I don't know.
If there's not shenanigans in that tag team match, then what the fuck is the point of watching it? Right? Because like that is just. I mean, is that a tag match that's going to main event it? Like because, or is it going to be
So
like? How do you think the order of this is going to go?
okay, so let me weirdly fantasy book this. All right, so I see if this tag team goes on last. Now I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people aren't fans of this. I think someone might be cashing in that night. They've done it a lot of time with the women's match. They did it last year with Drew McIntyre. He tried to cash in. CM Punk screwed him. Blah blah blah. Because obviously it doesn't mean you'll win. But you have both champions in the same ring. So say John Cena, Logan Paul beat the shit out of Jey
Oh my
Uso,
god!
and then they win, they lose, whatever. But they beat him down with the steel chair, which we've seen. And let's just say Seth Rollins wins. He just moseys on out. 1, 2, 3, Jey Usos, and walks out with the title. So if that tag match goes on
Uh,
last, I
yeah.
feel it's a same night cash in.
Has that happened before?
Oh
It
yeah,
sounds like it
it's
has.
happened. It's happened quite a few times. The very first time was
Kind of
shocking.
cheap though.
It is. It is, and I think that's why the first time was Kane, because he cashed in on Rey Mysterio the first time, same night, and you're like, oh okay, like oh this is kind of cool. You've never seen this. And there's been a few others on the men's side. I know, like I said, Drew McIntyre was like, he even said he's like, if I win, I'm going to cash in afterwards. And afterwards, CM Punk came out and caused the disqualification, and whatnot. So basically, built that storyline, but a lot of people thought it was a waste of briefcase. The joke is the women's Money in the Bank. Outside the first and the last winners, all of them has either been same night or next night on Raw. Like it never lasted that long. So people are like, give women a chance, blah blah. So yeah, obviously I don't think the women's gonna. There is no women championship, so they got to make a storyline. But I don't know. The women's side, a lot of it can go a lot of ways, but I tend to agree with a lot of people that the heel, this is made for a heel. Because if like Rhea Ripley wins it, she's probably gonna just say, "Hey, I'm gonna fight you at this time." But someone like Naomi, I could just see backstabbing because that's what this is made for a heel. This creates great tension. But I don't know. I just want to see some good matches, some awesome spots. I think a lot of the men's shit is going to be crazy. I think a lot of outside interference, which again, Seth Rollins is a safe pick. That's why I think LA Knight will just somehow come out with it. He's been the fan favorite for years, and I think this will just be able to get him to that spot he hasn't been able to get to. Because I agree with you. I think CM Punk's going to screw Rollins. But if the tag matches
How could
last,
he not?
yeah, I mean, he's not on the card. And like I said, there's just going to be so much, especially since or Roman Reigns comes back. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the only reason I don't think Seth Rollins wins it. I think someone's going to screw him over, kind of create more of that. He will get the title eventually.
Mhm.
But kind of like they said with Rhea Ripley, he's too big. He could easily be inserted into the title picture and no one's going to bat an eye. So,
Oh, I'm confused. So is Jey Uso the champion of like Raw
and
and
John
like
Cena's technically
Cena
John Cena's like the SmackDown champ.
SmackDown one?
They call it World and WWE, like the WWE Championship.
Do they ever go against each other or no?
No,
Like,
no. Well,
like, I
this
just saw WrestleMania 6 where it was like belt versus belt, right? Warrior versus Hogan.
they used to do it on like Survivor Series used to be champion versus champion for a while before they brought back War Games, and it just got so bland. They're like, why? The first time it was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but it's like, why? Brand supremacy, no one cares. This started because I think Logan Paul is facing Jey Uso. And Jey Uso said something to Cena back inside, and they were double teaming him, and Cody Rhodes came back. So I think that's what. Yeah, I consider it Raw and SmackDown, but So yeah, the Money in the Bank you can cash in on either. It's not like you can only cash in on Raw. You can only cash in on Smack. You can technically you can cash in on any championship. You can cash in for like the U.S. or Intercontinental, which has happened once, but people are like, if you have this, why would you do that?
Why would you do that? That's
They basically buried someone one time because they should just had a failed cash in, but someone tried to cash in on like the U.S. Championship and he failed. Just like buried the whole thing, and like that was stupid.
damn. That sucks.
But with everyone involved, I think both the men's and the women's match is good. So yes, all right. Let's see. All right, so 2 men. So I don't think they can go back to back ladder matches. And I somehow feel the tag match is going to be an event. I don't know why. I don't think it should, but I think it will because of the star power. So I think this is what they'll do. They'll start off with the men's match. Then we'll see the Intercontinental Championship with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyrie. Then they'll go to the women's match. And then the main event will be the tag match. Which, like I said, the tag match is just so weird for a main event of this premium live event. It's just so weird.
It happens, dude. I've seen plenty of these old school ones. It did happen in the 80s where it was like a tag team, like fucking main event. And it's always a letdown.
It is. And that's why I feel there's something more to this. And maybe it's not a cash in. Maybe it's a return. Maybe it's something I don't know. Maybe it'll set up Cena's next feud after this. Because the one thing people are like, Cena has a set amount of days that he's working. Like he kind of said it like, whatever, 30 days for the year.
Yeah.
Because people were like, well, why waste a day at R-Truth? And which to me, I'm like, well, that was a Saturday Night main event. That's like a glorified house show. I'm like, that's a perfect way. Because everyone that knows R-Truth knows the joke about him and Cena. This just seemed like a waste for him. But
It almost looks like trying to get Logan Paul over a little bit.
Well, a lot of people think they'll turn on each other, and hence this could be the Cena face turn because Cena's going to retire a face. He will. He's.
I have not. This run has not been interesting at all to me.
No,
I don't know him. I don't know Cena like you know Cena, obviously, of course, but like. There's been nothing about this run that has been interesting to me. I mean, we talked about it before. The Seth Rollins CM Punk shit has had way more heat on it than this does. Like the John Cena Cody Rhodes nonsense to me has been like super uninspiring and just really boring. And John Cena doesn't even look like a good wrestler these days. Although he looked a little bit better against the Randy Orton match, which I don't see Randy Orton anywhere on here, which is interesting. But yeah, no, I've not been. I can't wait for this John Cena thing to be over. To be quite honest with you.
I think they could have booked this better. Yeah, him better. I think he did it for shock value, which again, why it shocked me was just because they've said it, he's the number one guy in a Make-A-Wish. He's just like kids love it. Like, so there was all that. This is his final year. There's no point to this. It's not like he's trying to get himself over. It's not like he could have just played the hits, tried so hard, kept failing, and then the last try win he could have even just retired as champion. I would have been okay with that. He gets to 17, which we all knew was going to happen. They applaud him, but yeah. And then there was that incident with The Rock and buying Cody's soul, and I think more people thought The Rock was going to be a part of it, and then he went to do movie stuff, and there's no explanation. And I think that kind of killed it, and so. I don't know. Like I said, Cody, I don't know who should beat Cena. I don't think Cody should beat Cena. We'll see. It just seems that that's too obvious, and that hence why they'll do it. But we'll see. Again, though, if this tag match goes on last, whether it's a cash in or something, there's going to be some weird shenanigan shit. And I guarantee you, the men's match is going to be a lot of run-ins. You got Jacob Fatu, you got, Bronson Reed, you got Seth Rollins, people, CM Punk. So there's going to be so many people interfering in that match. Hence why someone like El Grande Americano, I could just see sneaking away with it. Like, that would just be comical.
He's fucking funny. Like, his fucking whole, like, gimmick and everything like that makes me fucking laugh. And he's also, like, fucking ripped. Obviously I don't know Chad Gable that well, but he's a physical specimen.
Like Kurt Angle, he was an Olympian, and so he knows amateur wrestling. And for the last years, people thought, let's put it this way: when Vince McMahon was in charge, he was part of this tag team, and they were fucking amazing. And then they put him they were trying to push him, and they gave him nicknames like Shorty G and this and that, like just stupid gimmicks for life. Vince McMahon, and
I
he did
know.
what he could, but the fans were always behind him. Hence why, again, I say it will be hilarious if he wins it, because then he technically can't like if Chad Gable was out there, and then like Jey Uso was lying down, he can't cash it in because he didn't win it. El Grande Americano did. So I think it would just be very comical. But a lot of people have been wanting a big Chad Gable push. So hence why, yeah, him or LA Knight. I think, seem like the create a new star, create a new champion, like they kind of did with Jey Uso, whether you love him or hate him. But you got to create the future, right? Hence why Seth Rollins, he doesn't need it. He'll be in the championship picture the rest of his career. So,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Seth Rollins is a superstar.
yeah.
And is going to be carrying WWE for a long time. I miss Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens, like his absence. I mean,
Oh,
I was really
yeah.
getting into it when I first got into it, and I just really liked his whole vibe and what he brought to the table. And there's not really, I don't know. I haven't picked up on any other guys like LA Knight. I mean, I've seen a couple times. I feel like I've seen El Grande Americano more times than LA Knight, or at least I remember El Grande Americano fights. Penta is just an aura farming vibe guy who kind of reminds me of Sub Zero. But yeah, the men's stuff, I'm kind of like whatever. The women's stuff, dude. Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, fuck
I'm
yeah.
glad Bliss is
Um,
back.
who's that girl? Jade Cargill, who like dresses up like Storm. She's cool too. Um, yeah,
And then
like
you
I'm
got
really
Bianca
interested in stuff.
Belair, who's not in this, who's one of the, because obviously here Rhea Ripley's the biggest star, and Belair is
Oh,
the big star.
100%.
And Becky Lynch is probably also the other big star, and they're just trying to use her to build the Intercontinental Championship. Um, but yeah, I mean, looking at the women's thing, yeah, Ripley could easily win it. Like I said, Naomi could. Stephanie Baker, just she could just all of a sudden win it, just make a statement. I think she's actually
He's
performed in
gonna get a
NXT
push.
before this. I think she has a tag match at NXT Worlds Collide. Her and Chad Gable are pulling a doubleheader this tonight. There's an NXT show, I think, before this, and they both have a match. One is Chad Gable, which, yes, I know he's not Grande Americano, whatever. But no, but in all seriousness, yeah, him and Stephanie are pulling double duty tonight. So,
Wow. I mean, I think that they're gonna push Stephanie Vacker because she's also that kind of natural superstar that Rhea Ripley. I mean, Rhea Ripley is just like the one, but
yeah.
I think Stephanie Baker has a chance to do it too. So, definitely stuff to watch, and I've got 18 Modelo's, um, so I should be right sobriety wise watching this.
Yeah, I wish I could drink, but I too under the weather to be able to do that. So we shall see. But I will be watching as well. So, but yeah, this will be your first Money in the Bank, and maybe next week we'll talk about the events, what happened. If anyone's
Yeah,
listening on
absolutely.
Spotify, you kind of already know. But yeah, I'm like I said, I love this. And the 4 match card, yeah, it's short, but I'm like, they're gonna hopefully give a lot of time for these ladder matches. But I don't know. There's something weird just having this tag team match, which seems like a waste. So hence why it wouldn't surprise me if we've seen
I
these
agree.
premium live events many times, or pay-per-views back in our day, when it's just shenanigans. Um, but
hmm
we shall
I
see.
mean, if they don't have shenanigans, like I said, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I
But
don't think the women's
you know,
match will have shenanigans. I think the men's will. But that's just me.
I'd rather watch this than fucking Yankees Red Sox. I'll tell you that much right now. So
Yeah, yeah. What happened to the Red Sox?
yeah, they suck. That's all. It just is
I
what it
heard so
is.
many good things at the beginning of the year. I mean, I didn't really follow the sports radio. Were
No,
picking them to win their
there's a lot of
division and this and that.
optimism, lot of optimism. But
But you
here we are in
should.
June, and that optimism is gone.
Let's move on. Football. That's
Mhm.
what we want. We want our football. I am
Hell
ready.
yeah, dude. Pat's looking good, baby. Pat's looking good. That's
Oh,
Bears Super Bowl. Calling it right now.
oh my God. I think we would just shit our pants. Literally, I think we would shit our pants. We'd be like,
Oh,
shit came out. We did not know this was going to happen, but here we are.
we'd have to do a special like Soto and Chad parlay just for that one.
Oh my God. We would do the ultimate parlay, the 20 pick parlay. It would allow us.
20 fucking big parlay. Oh, well, I know what parlays now are. I got trained on that last year through a whole football season. So
Yeah, yeah. No, we I doubt we'll do that again. I mean, we'll do special parlays, but not in
it's
every
a
week.
commitment.
Well, talking about every fucking football game was a commitment, but we
Oh
got through
yeah.
it. That was our job. We taught you about parlays, and that's all that
Mhm.
matters. So, oh,
Absolutely. And pizza.
I want pizza soon. It's been a while since I've had pizza.
Mm. Should probably have some soup or something.
Anyhow, all right. Is there anything else you want to end this with before we go? I know we got our main
No.
event in. I know in about a few hours you'll be watching Money in the Bank. I'm sure I'll get texts from you.
Yep.
Seen some good things. So,
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited, and I'm sure we'll talk about it once it's done for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for this week's Soda in the Chat show. And if you're listening on Spotify, you already know what happened, but we'll be doing this again next Saturday on YouTube and uploading it to Monday on Spotify. I don't know what we'll be talking about next week because, we just talk whatever's on our mind. You never know. Soda will just give
You
me
know,
a random thumbnail and we're like, this is the theme of our show because we don't care. We always joke no one's listening, but we do this for the fun of it. So, but we don't have outros. We don't have intros. So just have a good
we
week,
don't.
people.
Exactly. Yeah.